Hello students, welcome to this new academic year 2020-21. I am Mrs. Jovita Dharadar. I am going to teach you all history for this year. So let's begin with the first chapter of history. In subcontinent and history. In this we are going to see the subtopics which are geographical conditions and the course of history, geographical features of India, and the Indian subcontinent. Let us begin with 1.1 Geographical Conditions and History. In the 5th standard we saw at some length that there is a close relationship between man and his environment. We saw how the changes in the lifestyle of the early man and his technology were related to the changes in his surroundings. We also reviewed the history of human civilization from the Stone Age to the agricultural civilizations that flourished on the banks of rivers. Let us see what is history. History is a coherent account, coherent meaning logical. History is a coherent account of significant past events in the progress of human culture. The four major pillars of history are time, place, society, and individuals. Of these four components, place is related to geography or geographical conditions. In this sense, history and geography are inseparable. History is influenced by geographical conditions in many ways. Our diet, clothing, housing, occupation, in fact, all human life in any region depends to a large extent on its geographical characteristics. For example, the life of the people in hilly regions is more strenuous, meaning it requires great effort than that of the people living on the plains. Not much fertile land is available in the hilly regions, while in the plains it is available on a large scale. That is why grains and vegetables are scarce, insufficient in hilly areas. In comparison, people on the plains get them in a sufficient measure. Naturally, this has an impact on the diet of the people. In hilly regions, people depend more on hunting and gathering for their food. We also find other such differences in the lifestyle of the people of the hilly regions and those of the plains. The climate, rainfall, agricultural produce, flora and fauna of the region where we live are the sources of our livelihood. The lifestyle and culture of a region develops with their support. Human settlements have flourished wherever the means of living are plentiful. Over a period of time, these settlements develop further into villages and towns. But sometimes reasons like the degradation of the environment, drought, invasions, etc. lead to the scarcity of those means. People are forced to leave their settlements. Villages and towns become deserted. They become empty. We see many such instances in history. Thus, we see that there is a very close relationship between history and geography. Let us see 1.2, which is the geographical features of India. Our country India extends far and wide. At its north lies the Himalayas. To the east, the Bay of Bengal. To the west, the Arabian Sea, and to the south, the Indian Ocean. Except for the islands of Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep, the rest of the country is contiguous. We have to take into account this region, henceforth referred to as ancient India. When we study the ancient history of India before 1947, today's Pakistan and Bangladesh were also a part of India. Let us look upon the important regions of Indian history. The first is the Himalayas, second the plain of Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra rivers, third is the Thar Desert, fourth the Deccan Plateau, fifth the coastal regions, sixth the islands in the sea. Let us look at the Himalayas. The Hindu Kush and Himalaya ranges have created an impenetrable wall on the northern side of the Indian subcontinent. This wall has separated the Indian subcontinent from the deserts of Central Asia. However, there is a land route through the Khyber and Bolan passes in the Hindu Kush mountains. This route was connected to an ancient trade route. The trade route from China passed through Central Asia and reached Arabia. It is known as the Silk Route or Silk Road because silk was the main commodity exported to the Western countries using this road. The route through the passes was used by many foreign invaders to enter ancient India. Many foreign travelers also came to India by this route. Second, the plains of the Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra. This region consists of the basins of the three big rivers Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra and their tributaries. This region extends from the Sindh, Punjab in the west to the present-day Bangladesh in the east. It was in this region that the earliest Indian civilization of Harappa and the later states and empires of ancient India emerged. Third, the Thar Desert. The Thar Desert spreads across Rajasthan, Haryana and some parts of Gujarat. A part of the desert lies in today's Pakistan. The desert has the Satluj River to its north, the Aravalli mountain range to its east, the Rann of Kutch to its south and the Indus, that is the Sindhu River, to its west. The Ghaggar River that originates in Himachal Pradesh reaches the Thar Desert. It is known as Hakra in Pakistan. Its course in Rajasthan and Pakistan has now dried up. Many sites of the Harappan civilization are situated along the now dry course of the river. Fourth, the Deccan Plateau. The region between the east and the west coast of India tapers off to the south. This region has the Arabian Sea to its west, the Indian Ocean to its south, and the Bay of Bengal to its east. A region thus bound by the sea on three sides is called a peninsula. A major part of the Indian peninsula is occupied by the Deccan Plateau. The mountain ranges of the Vindhya and Satpura are located to the north of the Deccan Plateau. The Sahyadri mountain ranges are to its west. They are also known as the Western Ghats. To the west of the Sahyadris is the coastal region of Konkan and Malabar. The mountains on the eastern side of the Deccan Plateau are known as the Eastern Ghats. Deccan Plateau has fertile land where many post-Harappan agrarian cultures flourished. Deccan Plateau was a part of the Maurya Empire, the largest in ancient India. After the decline of the Maurya Empire, too, several other kingdoms and smaller empires continued to flourish in this region. Fifth, the coastal regions. From the time of the Harappan civilization, ancient India had trade relations with the western countries. This trade was carried on by sea. Therefore, India had developed contact and interaction with foreign cultures and people at the seaports. Later on, land routes came to be used for trade and transport, but the importance of sea routes did not diminish. Sixth, the islands in the sea. Andaman and Nicobar are the Indian islands in the Bay of Bengal. Lakshadweep is a group of Indian islands in the Arabian Sea. The location of these islands may have been important in ancient sea trade. The manuscript Periplus of the Erythraean Sea or Handbook of the Red Sea makes a mention of Indian islands. It has been written by an unknown Greek sailor. 1.3 The Indian subcontinent. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are in today's Pakistan. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and India together form the region known as South Asia. Considering the expanse and significance of India in this region, it is also known as the Indian subcontinent. The Harappan civilization had spread mainly in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. China and Myanmar, our neighboring countries, are not a part of South Asia or the Indian subcontinent. However, they had cultural and trade relations with ancient India. They have an important place in the study of ancient Indian history. Students, kindly revise the lesson and learn the question and answers. We shall meet again for the next lesson. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.